What is up, rockers of the Rock Nation? This is your fellow rocker here, ex-Rockerman X, and I am back with another video. And as you can read by the title down below, it's on the pilot episode, aka the premiere episode of Fear the Walking Dead. And yes, I do mean Fear the Walking Dead. Why? Because it just premiered last night. I was just able to watch a rerun of it today. And as we all know, Fear the Walking Dead is the companion series to The Walking Dead, which takes place out in Los Angeles, of course California, takes place out in Los Angeles, and takes place before the zombie apocalypse really got to start, before it really started happening, basically, while people still trying to figure out what the fuck are these reports about, what the fuck's actually going on here. Not necessarily during the apocalypse, because as we all know, like, I don't want to compare episodes, because as we all know, Fear of the Walking Dead is well, I don't want to say completely different, because it is still the same universe, but it's different from The Walking Dead, because we saw how, because as we all know, The Walking Dead with the classic, because from now, any Walking Dead fans, it's a classic, basically. The, first episode premiere from season 1 of The Walking Dead is basically a classic episode now, because as we all know how Rick woke up in the hospital out of his coma in the middle of the apocalypse as it was happening. However, Fear the Walking Dead, ironically, both premieres dealt with hospitals. I find that funny in some way, some form. Sorry, I just found that funny. But ultimately, though, and as we all know, Fear the Walking Dead, as I said, is a different thing from it. And we all expected it to be different. So it's not really a bad thing, because it's different, but in a good way. Because, well, let's start off here. Before I say anything else, I will say, though, that I don't want to say cinematography, but the portrayal of the landscape and stuff like that, and how it still looks kind of new and not wore down, because obviously it's new, but still have that kind of creepy-ish undertone that The Walking Dead has. I don't want to say creepy-ish undertone, but how it still kind of has that undertone, like the way, you know what I'm saying? However, I will say, though, just from how it looks, because we all know it's by the same people as well who did The Walking Dead, it's a really good just portrayal of that area. It really is. But, and it's not as dark yet, or I don't want to say dark, but it will be later on probably. And sadly, the first season to Fear is only 6 episodes long, which I guess makes sense, but ultimately, I will say, I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed. I was impressed with this episode. That's really all I gotta say. Why was I impressed with this episode? Well, I mean, ultimately, I will say, though, this episode was a bit slow for a premiere, because I expect a little bit more action, other than, like, what we got, basically. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Shit. Ugh. But, basically, other than what we got, slow compared to what we got, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But it wasn't slow in a bad way, because as we've seen by the season preview stuff that will happen later on in the season, and we got the preview things, which is this basically, again, like another 5 episodes besides this one. It's not in a bad way, because we're going to get more action later on in the season. Season is like a mini-series, so you get my point. However, and there is a season 2, I heard, supposed to be coming out with it. So, that might be good, but probably who knows when it will actually come out. But, ultimately, I will say, though, again, it was pretty good. Because, I mean, first let's start off with the main character. We have Nick, I believe, who's, if you can't tell by now, is a druggie. But I find that kind of, I don't know if I want to find that funny or not. It's not fun. Oh, obviously, it's not funny. But it's just like, that's something kind of different. I mean, you know. But anyway, And then we have well, I don't want to say, well, let's say main characters. And then we have Nick's mom. I forgot her name. What was it? Let's go to the article real quick and see if I can find the name. What was her name? I forget. I forget her name. This is bad. No, I don't want to go. No, that's not the article. There it is. Found it. Ha. Madison. That's her name. That was her name. Madison, which was Nick's mother. There it is. Should be fixed now, I hope. But, yeah. And she, from a standpoint, she pretty much feels that she's an inadequate mother because she doesn't know what she did to end up with a druggy son, blah, blah. You have Alicia, which is her daughter. Her daughter, you know, she kind of rejects him, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know about her. Honestly, I haven't really figured her out yet. And of course, then you have Travis, which is Madison's boyfriend slash stepfather. That sounds so wrong. Slash the kid's stepfather. There you go. And ultimately, even he has his own troubles on the other end with his, I'm assuming, ex-wife, and of course his own son, which I completely forgot his name as well. I should probably just keep that. I guess I don't think we got a name, but I had to check just for my own safety. Of course, but we got this. But basically, what I'm saying is we got this family dynamic with their problems, pretty much out in the open already from the beginning. But then, in the mix of that, we have like the zombie apocalypse happening, which I find it funny how they actually like okay, in the beginning. Let's be like this. By the way, spoiler alert, probably will be in the title. But we have Nick. And Nick was the first one out of the family to actually see, I don't want to call it a walker, so let's call it a zombie for now. To actually see it. Right? And because he's a druggie and he was running away or running to something, you know, he got ran over in the hospital, people thought, oh, well, he was just high at the time and he was hallucinating. Well, we got we got Travis to go see, and later on, Madison went to see what which he went solo and they both went to see what actually happened there and what would happen at the church that Nick was at when he was getting high, stuff like that. Well, honestly too, I think there was like a Walking Dead Easter egg with like the book that held Nick's drugs. I believe, like that book was some sort of Easter egg because it looked familiar to me. I don't know why, but yeah. And of course they're just like, you know, blah blah blah, whatever. And they're starting to believe that something's up, you know, shit like that. They're starting to believe shit's wrong. They're starting to believe, in their heads, I believe they're thinking Nick is like, oh, maybe he's actually telling the truth. Or Nikki's, you know what I'm saying? But then throughout the episode too, we have Alicia, you know, rejecting her family, trying to get out of there. You know, of course, her boyfriend goes missing. And we all know pretty much what that means. If you go missing in zombie apocalypse, you're pretty much dead. No, but seriously. And then, of course, we had, like, in the mix, too, we had Nick, basically. Basically, I'm just recapping what happened. I'm going through it, giving my opinion. But and then later on, too, we have Nick go to his drug dealer, Calvin, who eventually he tries to kill Nick, and then Nick kills instead. And then when Travis and Madison finds Nick, you know, they go to try to see Travis's body, you know, oh, well, he's dead, basically. But yet he's not there, and then when they're leaving the tunnel, then they see Calvin. He's basically dead, and he's one of the zombies. And it takes, like, what, 2 hits to kill him, and he's still not dead with the truck, you know? And then at the same time, what I was saying though, what I found funny was though about how they found out about the walkers, or not walkers, but zombies. I just find it funny that they had to watch it from a viral video just to really know what was going on. It's like, what the heck is this, dude? If you're finding out from a viral video, it's just funny. And that's another reason why they start believing. And Calvin also ties in with them starting to believe something's up, because exactly what Nick subscribed, the video had, and basically was what Calvin became. So, and then also, as well as that, you had like the minor characters mixed in, like the principal was teased as being dead, and then you had, give me a second, Mayor's itchy ear. But seriously, you had what's the name? What was the kid's name in the school? I can't think of his name. I know he has a specific name, but I can't think of his name. What's the name? Oh, Tobias, or however you say his name. He was a student at the school, He brought in the blade, the knife, and he's freaked out that shit's going to happen, stuff like that. And ultimately, be prepared, people. Be fucking prepared. No, seriously though, he's smart. See, he even if you're paranoid in that kind of situation, it's better to be paranoid, because at least that way you can be prepared, especially if oh, shit's up, be fucking prepared. And then as well as, too, the talk in the classroom that Travis was having with the students about why starting a fire and stuff like that, and man versus nature, and nature always wins, ties in with the theme of the not really fear, but like the fear of the Walking Dead, stuff like that. Ties in with what's happening, because what's going to happen, because from a fan of the original series and watching the premiere of this, we already know what's going to happen. And just seeing like that classrooms talk about like the man versus nature talk, and how Travis says in his own words, well, not his own words, but like basically saying nature always wins. Pretty much, we know that's what happens. Nature will win in this, even with everything, stuff like that. And that, just me giving that recap of the show, though, too, even though it's not really a review, but a recap, stuff like that. Again, we have this family dynamic, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Ultimately, though, I will say that for our first episode, even though there wasn't that much zombies, but it's understandable because, again, it takes place, in a sense, before the apocalypse actually happens. It takes place before it starts, stuff like that. Even there's a few zombies here and there. But again, as Travis said, nature always wins. I know I'm just repeating myself, but nature always wins. We all know the zombies will win in the end and overrun them, at least for now. They'll win in some form or another. But my point of saying that is just because, it's, as a fan of the main series, we all know that's what's going to happen. But also, I was impressed with the show. Again, it was kind of slow, but it's kind of understandable from the timeline of this episode. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good first episode to start off with. Because again, what else are you going to, really, because of the type of show it is, how else would you really want to completely start off? Especially with the timeline of it, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, I will say I was impressed with the show. Again, I was sitting there thinking, though, too, when they were talking about, oh, something's wrong to pull the authority, well, I think would it say police or government or whatever? I think it's the government. The government would tell us, bull fucking shit. The government would not tell you anything. And the part when Nick was going to the church by himself, like, are you fucking idiot? It's blocked up for a goddamn reason. But no, that was some thoughts there too. But as well as too, you have what was it? Now my question is though, will we get a reveal of where the virus or zombie virus or whatever the hell it actually is came from? Because again, it says because since basically it's like since you know what I'm saying. Because this is still technically well, it's not technically The Walking Dead, but it's still in the same universe. It's like, in this series, will we get where the virus came from, or are they saving that for a bigger reveal in the main series? I would say probably they would say it for a bigger reveal in the main series, but you never know, honestly. And as well as that, too, again, pretty good. What else was you want to say? Oh. Will I stick with the series, and will I stick with the season for Fear the Walking Dead? Ultimately, yes, since it is this. Well, it isn't The Walking Dead, but yet it still is The Walking Dead because it's in the same universe, and it's created by the same people who does the main show. Will I stick with the companion series? Yes, I'll stick with it, just because I'm a fan of the main series, and I feel like this is like a nice little side relaxing, like, you know, the main show, it's hard hitting, intense, you know, like that, and then you have like this semi-tame series that's that's obviously more laid back a little bit than the main series. And I say semi laid back because we all know what's going to happen, and from the preview we saw it's going to hit harder. But as again, will I stick with this? Will I stick with this series as it goes on, or this season? I think it is confirmed there's a season 2 of this coming out. But will I stick with it? Yeah, I will. And if I had to give this episode a rating, I'd give it about a 4. No, not 4. About a 3.5. Well, anywhere between 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. I know I probably shouldn't give it a rating, but still. Ultimately, though, again, as I said, I was impressed with it, and what else can I say? It was a damn good first episode, pilot episode. There you go. Did I say 4? Did I say 3.5 out of 5 stars? I meant 3.5, but anywhere between 3.5 and 4 out of 5. But still, I think I screwed up my words there, but I don't know. But anyway, was I impressed? Yes, I was. But that really has me done. Again, I just came on here giving some of my opinions, talking about it, like recapping what happened in the show, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. But that's done for this video. Again, it's probably redundant to do, but I just came on here and want to talk about it a little bit because give a little bit of my opinions. But hey, until next time, guys, live free and rock.